Hello, everybody. Good evening, morning, night, noon from San Francisco over to Europe, all the way to Australia and New Zealand. I checked out on the chat already. Let's not forget Canada. Canada always in great numbers here. So, we are not going to wait too long because I usually have difficulties with staying within the scope of 1 hour. So let's see if I can manage to fit this one in 1 hour today. I won't be rushing this one, I promise. So today we'll talk about building a repertoire. What does that mean? How do you begin? How do you expand? How do you learn song, memorize songs? How can you make them your own? We'll be referring to some of the earlier sessions where I go well into the details of something will be going over more generally today. What's on the menu today? Building a repertoire means selecting songs. How do you do this? What should you select? What can you run into? We talk about making songs your own, how to refactor them, how to memorize them, how to wrap them under a nice story arc, and how to practice all of that. And how we'll be doing that? Well, your repertoire can be seen like a pyramid in layers, and your songs as well. You can learn your songs in layers as well. We'll see how you can refactor songs to fit to your needs and how to practice. And practice is a combination of repeating some things, learning some new things, and developing the others. Starting with song selection, of course, you want to play the songs that you love. If you would play all the songs that you love, or try to play all the songs that you love, you might run into some walls. Your skills are not well developed yet. The songs are a bit weird to play on a guitar and perhaps a vocal only. Perhaps they're a bit long, complicated. So let's see. If you go select a song, you should also check out whether they are suitable to your style. Are they suitable to your playing style, to your singing style? Are they suitable for your voice, for the range that your voice has? Are they suitable to bring with just one instrument, or perhaps two if you count your vocals with that? You also need to check out whether they are feasible. And just as suitable, this can evolve. When you're just starting out, the feasibility of some songs will be quite unrealistic. But as you progress, you can perhaps manage them and make other songs progress to that. And last but not least, there on my list is, do they fit your story? Do they fit the thing that you eventually want to do? You might be starting out right now with only a few songs picked together quite random, perhaps a bit guided by Justin scores, or just by heart, checking out which are the easier numbers to play and what can I take on right now. But where do you want to go eventually? Where does that take you? What kind of act will you bring? And your songs, it's best that while you keep some variations in them, that you have some kind of story to bind them together, because as soon as they evolve into an act, it couldn't be some strange mix of rhapsodies and classic pieces and metal and all those things all together. Your set should have a story as well. So selecting songs fits in a lot of scoping and a lot of constraints that I just talked about. But some of these constraints can be widened, like the feasibility. But does that mean you have to wait to learn certain songs before you want to play them? No, because as soon as you can start working on them, the better. Some will be quite difficult to start with, but some can be simplified, brought down to a smaller song, to a simpler song with simpler chords, simpler structure, and an easier way to sing them. So on to the next. And Those who checked Justin's lessons before will have noticed that he talks about three kind of songs when you want to develop a repertoire. And these three types are the campfire songs, the developer songs, and the dreamer songs. The campfire songs are your easy go-to songs. Grab a guitar and in any situation start playing. You know these by heart. You can play these on autopilot. In best case, you don't need to check the fretboard and look at the chords. You could just jam along and perhaps even sing with them. These are the easy, mostly open chord songs that you can bring anytime, anywhere. You can bring any song to that kind of comfort. That doesn't mean that every song is um, should should be the easiest song that to play and that you only play easy songs. It means that the comfort that these campfire songs bring can be achieved in your later developer songs as well. Your developer songs are the ones where you're working on. They need a little work, that challenge your skill a bit, that have a few elements that challenge you. Like this is a chord that I'm not familiar with yet. This is a chord where I still need to practice the chord change from one to that certain chord. It has a certain lead line or certain passing notes that I still have to manage. Once again, you can promote songs to developer mode later on. These are the songs that where you need to focus just a bit on a certain part of the song, single it out, and work on that. And then the third category is the dreamer songs, the songs that perhaps before you ever grab the guitar made you think, oh, it would be so nice if I was able to play that particular song of those or those songs. Those are our dreamer songs, the ones that inspired us to play at all. And if you go far enough back, you'll notice that everybody has these songs. And it's not wrong to put them on your wish list. Um, you have to realize that they might be still a bit out there, far away on the horizon, but we'll see for some ways to start working on them. Anyway, approach your repertoire as a pyramid. A pyramid has several layers, and the bottom layer is the biggest layer. And as you put layers on top of that, you go to a point. Simple as that. But what does that mean for our repertoire? Well, imagine starting out making a list, making a set list, making a list of songs, and it's a good thing to start to create a sheet somewhere in Google Sheets or on paper or whatever, and start to create a little inventory of songs that you know or you want to play and that are within the constraints that I talked about a few slides ago. They are suitable, they are feasible, they they fit my style, what I want to do. So I already see these as part as a future show. So add these to your list and start working on them. Those campfire songs will be the easier songs, mostly the ones that you can play along easily and play on your own. And gradually, you will be adding other basic versions of songs to that. And I'll come back to that term basic version because this is something very important to get some songs out there really soon. So you start adding songs to your base layer until you have a nice set of songs, let's say uh, 4 or 5, 6 to 10. Then you have a nice set of songs where you think, okay, I can. Perhaps you're still learning these, but I'm getting more fluent with them. I can play through them, and I understand these songs, how they work, what their DNA is. Then it's time to still add some songs on this bottom layer, on this campfire layer, but promote a song to this developer status. You grab some songs, a song that you think, okay, I'm quite familiar with the basics of this song. Let's evolve it to our second layer where we start taking it apart on a more technical level, checking out what is typical for this song, what is a signature sound, a signature way of playing. It has a certain little lead bit, it has a quick chord changing bit, it has a particular rhythmic thing going on that I'm not really familiar with yet. It could be all of those or a combination of those. And the song ends up in the second layer of your pyramid. Note that you still have mostly campfire songs in your pyramid. Your set list is still solid with complete sets going on, while the developer song could be in the garage a bit while you're working on it. It might not be ready in this newer, more advanced state, but you still have the basic version of that to go back to if you want. So as you continue, you'll promote some more songs to this developer state. Um, and it doesn't mean that when you mastered it to a level where you think, okay, this is well enough for me now, that you should um, you should look at it as um, it is a lesser song. It became a campfire song. Remember, campfire songs aren't lesser songs. They're just songs that are your solid base, are your easy grabbing things. Perhaps they don't need a lot of development anymore because they're basically three chord songs all the way through, so they stay that way. But in the matter in how you bring these, how suitable they are for you, how you can express yourself in these songs, how you add value yourself in your show. Um, these simple three chord songs can be gems in your hands. So that's up to you to see what you do with these songs, and what do you add to them. It could be that the song in its original state is a simple three chord song and it has a campfire state, but you decide to promote it to the developer song. That means you go adding your own thing to it. Perhaps you learn some finger picking and you think, oh, I'm going to grab this basic three chord song, but I'll apply some finger picking to make it more complex. And I start some exercising in developing it. So you're pushing this campfire song to this next level while the original isn't even there. That's already a great example of making a song your own. Other examples could be throwing some lead lines, or um, playing around with chords and adding extra chords in there to do some harmonic tricks, stuff like that. Every song could be a platform to do that. And actually the easiest, most simplest songs often are most fun platforms to work on and to practice some stuff. That means that a song that you might once dreamt of can gradually become feasible. The horizon, it did come a little closer. You perhaps several weeks and months have passed. You developed some skills. You solidify your rhythmic skills by practicing other songs, because that's the best way to practice rhythm, is doing it in variations, um, and doing a lot of practice, not all on one day, but spread out over several days, small pieces, repeating, that you really start to get a knack for this rhythm thing. As I say in every session, at least once, rhythm is king. And also in this pyramid of songs, it is the most important thing. It still is. If you can get a rhythm for a song right, it can't even be on the set list to play it live. So it can be on your list here, but it can be selected, can be on your team roster to compete when you're out there. So always make sure when you start promoting songs that your rhythm on those songs is solid. That's solid advice. So at a certain point, you gathered some skills that made a developer song the potential dreamer one. That you started out with a very basic version of your dreamer song, just chord structure. And you started to add the things that make that typical song, like, for example, Sultans of Swing from the Dire Straits. You started out with a campfire version that is just a simple strumming pattern doing the basic chords, but you added some of the typical picking and a bit of the embellishments that make it sound more like um, Mark Knopfler version of it. And then you think, I have a lot in me right now. I've been practicing some lead stuff as well. Perhaps I could start to push this to this dreamer song level where I actually take the feasible step to do it, you now have a solid pyramid below you, and the step to this dream song suddenly is smaller. If you incorporate some of the techniques, the rhythmic ideas, the chord necessary in other songs that you are practicing, then they will become your foundation to do the smaller step to this dream song. So don't just add a dream song on top of your pyramid out of nowhere, thinking tomorrow I will be already be working on that dreamer song. Have the patience to work through it. First, make a campfire version of it, then make a developer version of it, and when you can you can grab your skills from your other songs as well and combine them to lift that up to that third level, then it's feasible. Then it is realistic for you to do that. So, an important strategy in all of that, and I already mentioned it a few times, is try to get full songs out there as soon as possible. You might still be making the mistake of trying to get a song the right way, completely the same as the original from the beginning. And I call this a vertical approach, starting from the beginning line. You learn the first notes, it takes you a long time to progress. And as my hand goes through the timeline, you end up with knowing 20 intros for songs and no complete song. So my solid advice here is start with a basic version of a song first so that you can bring a complete song first. A complete song. Okay, what does that mean? You can still play with the definition of what a complete song can be, and in fact it's really small. What makes the DNA and what makes your song suitable for life is only a small piece of what the complete original song is, and we'll get to that later. So instead of learning a song perfectly from the beginning with the ambition of there are some really hard parts coming up in this song, but I'm going to learn them, and you get stuck somewhere eventually because your skills can't cope with that certain hard point somewhere in the song, you get stuck, guaranteed. So start the other way. Start building a pyramid once again, a really solid base layer of knowing what the song is about, and start building upon that. So, as I said, this is vertical versus horizontal. The horizontal is the layers on top of each other, a really basic song. And like adding layers of paint over and again, it gets really solid. Just you add your song, you add more detail, more complexity, more embellishments, lead lines, stuff like that. You put that on top of a basic version. As I said, what does it mean, a complete song? What do I need to know to have a little embryo of a first song? What is the real basic first thing? And as soon as you can get that basic thing in your autopilot doing, as you could do it in your sleep with your eyes closed with a lot of distractions going on, um, and you're feeling really comfortable in doing that song, well, that's enough, and it's only a part of it. um, it says here focus on a full song as soon as possible, and by that I mean being able to bring a really basic version of that song first. And what does it mean? The Not only something very simple in chords with a very simple strumming pattern, but also a lot of songs become recognizable if you know one, a verse and a chorus. If you know these, you can get a long way, because intros usually are variations of the structure of a verse. And if you know the chorus, you know the essence of a song. Perhaps there's a bridge somewhere, but to bring a song in its very basic way, knowing some verses, knowing some choruses, and you already know large part of the song. So start with that first. Identify what the verse is, what the chorus is. Well, I think we can all do that, and not in some cases it's special. There are songs that don't have choruses, and then you have even more freedom in deciding how many verses will I be doing. most cases, a verse and chorus, I put these in green and orange because I'll be repeating these structures here. So when we go through the DNA of our campfire song, let's say our green block was our verse, our yellow block was our chorus, you can start to take that apart in a bit smaller pieces as well. And this is a technique I often recommend to people trying to be able to play along with a song, um, and memorize the chords, because it can be confusing reading them from a paper and trying to read the words and seeing chords that are on top of the words, but not seeing how it works structurally, because usually it is an amount of measures divided in equal parts, and each chord spans an equal part. Typically, you'll be doing 4 beats for a chord or 2 beats for a chord, stuff like that. And if you would, for example, let it be, split that in a little grid, then you'll see a pattern. The first pattern is, yeah, we'll have 4 lines, and many courses have 4 lines, so that's each horizontal line. And many songs have 3 or 4 chords going on in each line. So that's our columns. Columns always makes a grid, and you can fill in the chords that are in such a verse, and then a second pattern starts to emerge. For Let It Be, for example, a verse is just 2 lines and then a repetition of those 2 lines. So the blue green and then again the blue green. And for the chorus, just the same thing. So if you start to identify these patterns, you see that the essence of the song is actually 8 lines. Sorry, 4 lines even. The 2 first lines of a verse, and then you repeat those, and then the first 2 lines of a chorus, and you repeat those. If you know these, you can actually bring a very, very accurate version of Let It Be. Only that. So if you have the grid in front of you and you can play this along, not only with a play along track, but with a drum track or a metronome or combination, you practice all of these, then you can quickly learn this structure and later on add the words. First, make sure that your rhythm is okay. Your bass layer is your rhythm. So pouring that into an MVP of a song, MVP, that means minimum viable product, and that's a term from usually software development and agile methods, but it applies here as well. It means that what is the minimum that we can put out there that is viable, that counts as a song? What is the absolute minimum that counts as a song? And in many cases, it is an intro, a little inbox here, first chorus, first chorus. That's a very basic repetition of 2 blocks I've already shown you. So imagine that you know that an intro is the verse, but without singing. And you know that for our Let It Be, the verse is actually already a repetition of 2 blocks. Chorus is the same. And then you repeat those, that you have first chorus, first chorus. Then you have a bunch of repeats in a nested structure, and you have a complete song. So only learning 8 chords in a sequence is enough to learn a complete Let It Be. That's actually the essence. So instead of trying to memorize a song sequentially from your paper, always see it in these blocks and make those little grids. Those grids can work for other songs as well. And use colors. Try to use the same colors when we write a song with our bands. I do this as well. I create structures of measures with certain blocks in colors that everybody knows. Oh, we'll be going into the verse now. Then they know Levan will probably be singing something, stuff like that. It really helps. So first you get acquainted with the structure of your song. When you get acquainted with the structure of your song, you can learn the chords that are there in each section. That's are the little blocks there, once again in the colors that we used before. This is a real to this line. If you got those, if you got your structure of your song, you have a solid rhythm going on, no matter what it is, you can alter a rhythm of a song. It doesn't have to be the exact original. It's better to learn something that's comfortable for you first. If your basic chords going on, bam, this is your campfire song. This qualifies as a song that you can actually do live. Perhaps you want to make it more interesting if you can sing over them, but you can consider this as a unit that you can start practicing. That's more than enough. So, what comes on top of that later? Perhaps you want to start to do a little improvement on the rhythm part. Perhaps you're not completely happy with the way you're strumming this. Then this is the time to work on that. Not when you're evolving it even later. It is of course an option, but now is a good time. Starting use strumming variations, stuff like that, can be the next layer of complexity in your song. But meantime, you're practicing the structure of the song, playing through these chords from your grids. Then on top of that come the more complicated chords. Perhaps there are some chords that you can play yet. Well, no worries then, because you have your basic structure of chords. Perhaps there were several exotic variations to the chord that you didn't master yet. That's okay, because if you know which are the basic chords for your song with the basic structure, then you're all good. You can also start to add some embellishments, some decorations. I made a lot of sessions by now talking about adding flavor to your chords, open chords, bar chords, some extensive work on the C, A minor, and E minor chords. Check out those if you want to explore those. So you can go adding layers on top of that. But meanwhile, still, you're practicing a complete song. You're able to play through completely. You had that small thing of a song that you could put out. Your minimum viable product was done very soon, but you can keep iterating on it. You can keep building on it. You can check out, perhaps I can add this complexity here, I can add a little thing there, and this is how you create room to add your personal style in there as well. You always have the choice of what do they do in the original, what do I want to do, what fits my style, what perhaps some things in the original you're learning the solo, but there are still some hard parts in it. But by learning other parts of the solo, you learn the DNA. And if you can use this DNA to construct an easier section of the solo somewhere where you have difficulties, then nobody will kill you on stage for doing that, but you still have a solo. It will be more feasible, it will suit you more, and you still have the option to perfect it later on, whether is it in your own more complex style or more towards the original. That's all up to you. Or in parallel, that you can know both of them. At a certain point, you probably need to rearrange a song a bit and re-engineer it to fit it. We talked about which songs are suitable to me, and you might have noticed that you tried a song and perhaps tried to sing with it, and you think, this is rather high or this is low. I cannot reach it. This is out of my range. Well, you should learn to transpose a song. It is a basic tool in your tool sets to take control of songs. And as I teach, I always want you to be in control of the song and not the other way around. And being in control means one, setting it to a key that fits you. I think that's really important, especially if you sing. If you play guitar, it can help you transpose to chords that are perhaps easier for you to play. Or if you play with another artist and he or she plays in another key or sings in another key, then it is a crucial skill as well. If you want to go play in a band that does covers, but they have singers who want to sing in other keys, then you can be damn sure that you need to transpose songs. So give that some attention on how to do it. It is not complex. It is not as hard to understand as modes and harmonies. It's really simple, and I also have a live club completely dedicated to this one, transposing with and without a capo, and what are the up and down sides. Check that out. Being in control also means you can decide what you cut out. Some songs can be very long, um, and they could, if you don't have a lot of playing time, they could take up a lot of your time, and perhaps being able to cut it short and be and have the skill to do that on stage, on deciding, this is taking long, I'm gonna cut it short. How will I cut it short? I'll cut certain sections. And then you see these blocks again in front of you. Then you think, I'm gonna cut out a verse and a chorus. Okay. And I know I'm going to wrap up after this block. Okay. You should be able to do that in your head while you are playing, and you notice things are going wrong, or the room is not feeling the song very well. You think, I need to switch gears. I'm going to go to another song. Then you should be able to be in control of that. Richard Coles has entered the studio. Hi, Richard. Welcome. Well, whereas I okay, so when you rearrange your song and re-engineer it, then you can add your own complexity. We talked about that. That means that building your songs in layers allows you to add your own complexity, your own ideas. If you're going more towards the finger picking style, then you can try to figure that out, how to fit that in. And at a certain point, you will divert from the original, and people will only like you for that. Because if they want to hear the original, they want to hear one that is really close to the original. But if they see you've been creative and you have your own version that you set to your control, you'll be more expressive with it, and they'll appreciate your creativity and how you fit it to your style. So learn the song's DNA, and as said, create your own solo next to the original one or simpler one, and in layers you can build on top of that. You can even approach your solo the same way. First, make sure you have a minimum viable product for your solo. Does that mean playing several notes quite slow, but in a melodic and tasteful fashion? Then that is your solo, and there's nothing to be ashamed of. But it gives you a platform to build upon. Because in the meantime, you still have your complete song going on, and you have your solo. If you are in control, you can decide on, I'm going to do a shorter solo, and it will sound like this. You learn a bit of the DNA of the solo. You know, this is the scale. This is what happens. There's a lot of bending and a lot of sliding. I'll do that as well. And as you practice the song in your daily practice routine, it gives you some chances to practice that, your version, your easy version. But in another section of your practice, I'll come to that later, you'll develop on that. You'll add a little layer. You think, that final section, I'll do some hammer-ons there, and I do an extra bend and see where it goes. You experiment with that, and at a certain point you think, I'll keep this. This is good. This is a bit more complex, but and each time there's a new layer of paint going over your solo, and it's becoming more complex. And in the meantime, at the bottom there is still your full song that you can play. So imagine you waiting all the time to be completely ready with a song, to be able to bring it. You wasted all that time that you could have been bringing a basic version of the song out there, um, gaining the experience of doing that. Because face it, if you have a basic song list that you can bring, then you will be on stage or in front of your family and friends sooner. So you'll be gaining experience sooner. So you will be ahead of the same version of yourself that is waiting and learning, and not getting used to what it is to play these songs live, and not knowing how does my crowd respond to when I do this song this way, and do they love it, and what is the feedback, stuff like that. You're all missing out on that if you wait. So getting songs out there, basic versions, sooner the better. So I mentioned practice. What does that mean? When you focus on all of those things in your practice, you will be filling up practice time really fast. I don't expect you to do all these things 4 hours every day, of course, but um, here are in 2 slides some of all the things you can do to improve this repertoire, this pyramid of songs. How you can work on campfire songs, for example, and um, there is nothing wrong with working with sheets in front of you. When learning a song, familiarizing yourself, learning some of the timings, try to make a chord sheet with the grid, with the chords, stuff like that. So then you're already trying to, if you sing the words with it, trying to recall the words when you're playing through. And that's where the magic is. It's in the recalling. You you could start your practice without sheets. You could start your practice with trying to play a version of the song that you can bring that moment. There's nobody there to hear it. You know it's incomplete. You don't know it by heart. You know you fumble over some stuff. Don't worry about that. Just play what you know, what you can. Your brain will recall information from the long-term memory to your active short-term memory. And this process is part of a good memorization. If you can repeat this process over a couple of days and give your brain a good night's sleep in between, and you combine one recalling it and doing the effort, oh, what was it? And this goes really fast, and this is you're able to do this on autopilot. And then you think, there were some rough patches there. Another part of your practice is, what were these rough patches? Signal them out and work on them. Check them out, what makes them. Practice them slowly. Check the words. Are there certain timings on how words or chords are falling? And practice that. Next time, when you start your practice the next day, repeat that. Start without your sheets and see, what kind of version can I play today? And it will always be a bit better than the day before. And this is a real solid way to build songs. This is the method how I by now play about 50 or 60 songs by heart, both lyrics and chords. I always wondered how people do that, and it is by repetition of recalling and polishing it, by having basic versions of songs first and building upon them if they want. I can say, yeah, I know that many songs. Some of them are really basic versions. Others started as basic versions, but I built upon that. I expanded. I had, for some, I had the vision of, I can do more with these. I can make them more complex. And I started to play some finger picking over them. And then others, I added some lead lines. Others, I just kept the same four chord songs they were. Usually, they consist of a verse, a chorus, sometimes a bridge comes in. It's not complex, but it gives you a song, and you can focus on other things like singing well, expressing yourself, keeping your pitch, making eye contact with the crowd, being there, making a report. It's all a combination. You have those campfire songs, they are comfortable. You have these songs that are a bit harder. I get more into the zone. They have some harder guitar parts. Close my eyes and I sing. Then I have a few other campfire songs that make me very comfortable again and make some fun with the crowd and laugh and things like that. So there's a valuable dynamic going on. So another part of your practice could be, I'm going to add a layer in a campfire song. Perhaps you have a campfire song in your repertoire that you're practicing, and you decide, okay, I'll add another layer by uh, checking how I can make this strumming pattern more interesting or more like the original, or decorating some chords with embellishments of, or making or playing the original more complex version of those chords. Meanwhile, you're still practicing the basic version of your song as well. You're still going through your songs, and you'll notice that having a good portion of of your practice by really just enjoying yourself in a real comfortable feeling of playing through these songs. It will put you in a chill state of mind. You'll forget all the other things. You'll be there more in the moment. So combining these different blocks in your practice will make it also more fun, more relaxing, and less like work. um, Playing songs should be fun as well. The value there is that you learn to express yourself through your songs, and eventually that is what you want to do as an artist on a stage. So combine these parts because there's more. For the developer parts I mentioned, single out the parts you are working on. Perhaps um, you have a certain you have a little solo going on, and there is a part that you still have issues on. Well, if your daily set of practice items has isolated parts of your developer songs to work on, they will add on that basic version. You still have the basic version in your routine, but you also have this certain part that you isolated and you're working on. Part of your practice could be add a new song on campfire level. um, I I recently did that with a song "Society" by Eddie Vedder. It's now on campfire level where I uh, am quite comfortable with the chord sequence, and I'm pushing it towards developer level. And that means uh, at a certain point, I just added the campfire song, and let's say a week later, I start to push it to developer stage. Developer stage means getting more lyrics right. Um, it means what will I do with the solo, because there's a guitar and a ukulele together. How will I make something out of that has entertainment value, that I can play, that is my thing, not exactly as the original. So that's my developer part for that song now. I still play through the campfire version of that song, but I also do the developer part. The For now, that's the solo part for me. Also, I haven't mentioned this yet, but try to record yourself. One, obviously, to check out how solid is my rhythm, because if your rhythm in these songs seems to stutter, then it will be hard to build upon. Remember, when it feels comfortable, it means that you can stay in the flow of this song from the beginning till the end. And you need a bit of buffer for when you're playing them live. You need to be able to take some damage in the form of distractions or doubt when on stage, when you think, oh, people aren't liking this. You need to bite through that. So you need to be comfortable in those songs, and it's better to play basic songs comfortable than playing only developer songs in your live set. That means pushing through errors. um, if you want to learn a song completely, and especially in the thing that I call the recall thing in practice, where you recall what do I actually know of this song, you should also be strong and push through the moments where you feel I'm doubtful, but you have to make something out of it. Remember, there's no crowd, there's a safe room for you to make errors, but pushing through helps you to try a little harder recalling what it is, and then um, you go contacting what is around the exact knowledge that I was finding. I was trying to recall something, but it's not there. What was attached to it? What was the knowledge network? And you try to recall a bigger block and see what was around it. Um, and that is usually the DNA of the song. I know these chords appear in the song. This is the scale shape that is used in the song. What can I do with this information? Should I know there's either a G or an A coming. I'll guess. You play it, and your rhythmic feeling should allow you to pace it well. And if you had doubts on the chords, G or A, well, that's 50% chance to try to push through when practicing. It will make that recall and memorization part even stronger. Um, that's why you shouldn't only do play alongs with songs. The app is very, very valuable to get acquainted to the DNA of a song, but you should also be able to do it all on your own. Whether is it without backing track, is it with drums only, is it a metronome only? For fun, try recording something that you do yourself with wooden spoons and pans, or heating guitar cases, whatever, and recording that and using that as a rhythm. It's all good fun, but rhythmic practice as well, to get a feel what is going on rhythmically and can I play over that. And by that I mean playing the song over that. You can play any chord progression over any rhythmic idea if you try hard enough. It will make you more flexible as well. Certainly, if you want to change the genre of a song at a certain point, perhaps you want to make a punk version out of a ballad or the other way around, then you need to know how to feel a rhythm and what a ballad rhythm is and what a punk rhythm feels like, and then apply what you know about the song. If you take that basic version of a song that we talked about and you apply it to the proper rhythm, instant instant genre change. That's all it needs. What does it rhythm do? It can even be a time signature change. But apply what you know about this song and try to apply this on this new structure. You're all already there, at least halfway. So you've been practicing a lot at home. Okay, I think I'm gonna make it in time this time. You're practicing along at home, so now you're gonna take it live. Remember what I said in the beginning. Make a list in a document somewhere on the status of the song. What do you still need to do? Have an active roster. Have a roster of this is my wish list, songs that might be there in the near future. But what if you go play somewhere live and they say you can play 3 songs? Then you need to select which songs go together, which fit the occasion, which feel in which songs do I feel comfortable. And you can start with an absolute comfortable campfire songs to stay at ease. It really helps. I started with No Woman No Cry for a long time, and I did it so much that I kind of made it a developer version with some complex finger picking going on. But it felt comfortable because I started with a real basic one and I added complexity after complexity. Uh, but I had my business card there. It was my Bob Marley. When I started playing, people have certain expectations. They are curious, what will this be? And that song really reflected what I will be doing in the set. Let's take a song, a classic. Let's apply my style. Look, this is my style. There's some interesting rhythmic thing with melody combination going on, and I sing over this, and this is the range of where I sing in. This is my timbre. So it was my business card, but I was very comfortable with it. Start with a song like that, that is your business card, but that you solidified as this is comfortable. Because it's your first song, you still need to get used to being there, and you sound different. Perhaps you don't hear yourself very well, or there's a loud crowd that's really distracting. Stuff like that, they all make it harder for you to do your best version. So make sure you're comfortable. It will always sound better at home than live. When you get more experience, you it sometimes happens to go the other way around because you start to feel the energy of the crowd and you start to channel it again, and you make yourself really vulnerable and express yourself, and that can bring you to experiences and performance that are actually far better than playing at home. But that's next level. That means that you are already seasoned in playing live, and that you're really losing that using that energy. So remember, stay in control also for your set. It could mean that at a certain point you feel that the crowd isn't happy with a song. They are not responding well. You feel a weak energy coming back to you. You should be able to wrap up that song really quickly and play another one, or or even better, if you were able to predict that next song is this one, but they're not really going to like it, I'm going to skip through and you should be able to know what's on your set list and where is it going. So having some extras is always useful. If you see, oh, it's a very cheerful, happy, but very energetic crowd, then I perhaps drop the ballad that I was supposed to do and throwing a fun, energetic, and fast song. Having that in your extras is useful. So remember that what you're playing live and your set, it's two different. Yeah, what's in your repertoire and what you're playing live is two different things. You make a selection. Using chord sheets on stage is acceptable, but it will take away from the performance. If you can do a basic version by heart and put everything you have into it, it will still be better than trying to do the complex version, but you looking at those sheets all the time. You can take that from me. People want to see a performance, want to feel a performance, and it can feel less fun, and especially the connection with the crowd will be less energetic if you have sheets in between. If you're a seasoned performer with a cover band that does a lot of songs, and you have a system of displaying them on a small screen discreetly, and still be able to make a report with the people, that's all cool, of course. It's an art form to make a connection and then blends to something that's below, and that's okay. It's okay to cheat or just having some keywords. The Live Club about memorization talks about that as well, about some ideas on how you can cheat if necessary. Um, and it's not illegal. There's always a front part of the show, how people experience your show, and the part that you do. It's like a magician. A magician has a lot of hidden things going on, but what you see and what you think you see is something completely different. Same thing as a musician, but not with such a big difference, because then you would have an authenticity problem, I think. All right. So I think, yes, I was able to do it nicely in time this time. It took me 26 sessions to do that. Um, I'm not sure if Richard is, oh, he's following along. Let's see. Richard, can you display the questions on the screen that I can answer them directly? That would really help me. I'll wrap up with the next sessions. Check out the Live Clubs page. I have sessions coming up about singing with or without your guitar. It's a reprise of an older session, but it's useful for people who want to start singing or develop their singing. And the last session of the year will be about setting your goals. It's a good preparation of um, New Year's resolutions, but for guitar, because that's an ugly word. Um, Setting your goals each year is a good exercise. You look back at what you did. You look forward on how is that different on what I want to achieve. Have I evolved in a different direction? Where do I want to go? It's a good time to do that. So in December, we'll talk about setting your goals. Okay, Richard, let's fire away with those questions. So, um, somebody says, I just joined, but couldn't this MVP be the looper and then build layers over it? Seeing next, perhaps. Yes, yes. If you have a looper and you can build your little MVP, um, being either just a very very mini version of the song, being verse and chorus, and looping this and practicing every line of the vocal, because you have several verses going on in the song. That could be one, or it could be uh, as soon as you get a hang of the complete structure of the song, you can play the complete song as you want to bring it, even if that's only half of the original song. Play that in your looper and then start building stuff over that. Using a looper to use your MVP as something you loop as basic and build upon that is, I think a very good way to to apply this method that I've shown you. Good idea. Absolutely. I disagree. The first thing you must learn is not the chords, it's the melody. Um, the song is the melody and the words. The chords are there only to support the melody. Well, um, yes, and I think in what I've shown, it already skipped that part. Perhaps I should have mentioned that when you start to learn a song, you should know what it is about. You should be at least be able to, uh, when it's on the radio, to hum with it, to feel not only what's the rhythm about, but is there a main hook? Can you sing with this hook? Can you clap your leg with the rhythm that's going on? Stuff like that. Um, when learning a song, that is part of the first, the more, should I say in English, it's almost on a subconscious level where you understand and make a connection with the song. The first time you hear something on the radio, it's often um, just getting to know what it is about, to feel what is its DNA. And the next time you hear it, you might be able to sing along with the chorus. And the easier the chorus, the better. And then you start to get a feel for the structure. Then you kind of guess, I think there was a verse there, and structural it will be like this. And the melody in the verse, I sometimes miss a bit, but I got most of it right. And then, of course, yeah, this chorus is really catchy, and I can already sing this along. Um, I think for most songs you want to play for yourself, that you have decided that you want to play, you're already quite far in this phase of learning the melody. Um, so, what I described is, what if you want to actually learn to perform this song? If somebody gives you the order or as exercise, you're going to learn this song, then yeah, then you're absolutely right. Then your first step is, what is this song? What is the core melody? Is there a main melody? Is there a main hook? Is there a melody in the verse and in the chorus? So in that case, yes, you're absolutely right. Then you should get acquainted with the song first. So I might jump that step in the assumption of, yeah, we learn songs that we choose, and we already have a connection with them. And what you described is a real great step, is making the connection with the song. So yeah, good comment. I find this working well with a couple of Guns N' Roses songs I'm working on right now. Basic, not so bad, but adding the cool stuff Slash did a little at a time has been super helpful. Yeah. Um, Guns N' Roses songs, I tried some of those solos, and they are very good. A good workout on your bending. Um, but many Guns N' Roses songs can be learned first as a uh, real basic strumming version with really basic chords usually. Um, you can play many of Guns N' Roses songs with regular open chords, and learning the MVP with the structure and the open chords is really helpful. Many cases you need some power chords as well for some build-ups, or to get that more typical feel where you want to, because yeah, a power chord, it takes out the third of a chord, which means it's no longer minor, but it's also no longer major. It's none of both. And in some cases you want to know what that means. If you see G5, E5, B5, it means it's a power chord. You can do that with 2 or 3 fingers if you want. That's perhaps also why power chords are so easy, so early in Justin's course for you to learn. Um, and having some power chords gives you access to great punk and rock and punk rock songs, but also a lot of rock and roll. And of course, you can build up your MVPs for Guns N' Roses songs with open chords and power chords. Um, Once again, challenge yourself and record yourself doing making this MVP, as said, with a looper or not, just recording it and playing it again and playing over that, um, and learning a solo. You start to recognize these shapes, um, even if you don't know the exact position of that scale shape yet. You haven't practiced that yet. You haven't learned that yet. But when you start to figuring out whether it's by ear or learning from the tab, or in best cases both, that's usually the fastest, I think. uh, you see, oh, they use a lot of these notes and these sound well because when I end on it, it feels like home. Yeah, that's probably because that's the root note. And you start to create some of your own licks. You can start to fill them in. That's why a great set of tools is having some bread and butter licks yourself. Um, for example, in an A minor pentatonic, having some licks, having some ideas that you can chain together in an improvisation can also be used as placeholders in your MVPs of your solos. When you think, oh, this is a part I'm not so familiar with yet, can I play something that I already know in that same place, perhaps with a bit of extra timing and a few extra notes? Yeah, okay, excellent placeholders. Before you know it, you start to evolve from these placeholders. And if you think it's too bland, you can cut out the precise part you want, and that's the singling out part of a developer song and improving it. Um, but always make sure that you don't have holes, that you have something complete going on. And even if it's basic, if you think your solo is too basic and too long notes, make it shorter. Make yourself in control enough to be able to make them shorter. And you can get away with a real basic solo. People won't kill you because you don't know the exact solo. All right. Who's up next? Last question from Richard, unless anyone types now. Do you ever, what do you mean, seek from a song? Ooh, um, that I seldom go from one song into a different song in one fluent movement. Uh, that's next level skills if you can do that. A good suggestion though, to be able to do that, I do some things on purpose. Songs that are close together that create, they offer the opportunity to create some kind of mashup where you start out like it's Hotel California, but then you play a song that's very similar to it, and you play a little game with your audience. Um, but what I do quite a lot is the next best thing is having a real having real elegant ways to wrap up songs, to make an end of it. That I notice that this isn't working, I'm going to I, I won't need I won't need another 20 seconds to wrap it up. I usually find a lot of ways to quickly wrap them up and then, with very little binding text in between, go to another song. I think that is a clue. If that happens to you, one, wrap it up nicely and then go to the other song as soon as possible. And if you can, a completely different genre, something completely different, it will bring dynamic in your set. If you start to lose connection with the crowd, they start to lose their attention, then switching style, switching to a song that's something completely different, will make some heads turn again and grab their attention. And they will be quickly be forgetting what was previously played. It was probably less memorable, or perhaps you were totally fumbling and making a mess. Uh, then you also need a way to wrap that up. So that's why practicing some endings is useful as well. I haven't mentioned this yet, but have ways to end the song. Um, you have intros, but you also have outros, and outros could be dun, 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 three certain strums of a certain chord or whatever, but make sure that your songs have an endings. All good stories have a beginning, a middle, and an end. That's count for songs as well. So make sure that you have endings as well, because then you can quickly work towards this ending, play that ending, and it's wrapped up. I saw one more question popping up. Thank you. This was very on point. I have been trying to figure out on how to structuring practice now that I figured out some goals. Great. There are in the Live Club archive, you can check out some other sessions that talk about making songs your own. And I even apply this theory on an example in a different session, being making your own version of House of the Rising Sun. I think these can be useful for you to apply some of these principles there as well. All right. Time check. I think it's a nice time to be wrapping up. A great session for me. I now realize I've been playing many songs, but not learning them to performance level. Yes, get songs to performance level. Be aware that performance level isn't too complex, but get them to performance level so that you can quit playing a dozen of intros of songs and that's it. But that you can, even though you are not playing songs live right now, you're not gigging yet, you should practice as if you are, because the time will come, you'll get your first offer. And when that happens, you're already in the flow of, I have a set, I have my favorites, I have my roster that I would like to play live, I have my campfire songs, I have an opening song, I have endings to songs, beginnings and endings, remember, not only intros. I have control over songs. I can cut them short. I can add in an instrumental session in between of me doing some fun things with a verse instrumentally, for example. So even if you're not playing live yet, this philosophy can help you in being ready when the day comes, because as soon as you get your first call, you already want to be in this flow and you're ahead of yourself once again. Instead of the waiting, you're already a step ahead of yourself. Playing those songs, having that experience with pushing through and adapting to different rhythmic ideas, stuff like that. All right. Thanks for the reminder. Don't forget to thumbs up on the YouTube video. Thanks a lot, everybody. See you next time. Don't forget to sign up for the next sessions. Bye bye.